Do you ever feel like your Etsy files are a mess? Or maybe you spend hours trying to process your orders, but then you're scrambling to find your designs? Or maybe you work all day on your Etsy business and then you realize, what did I even do today? If that's you, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that I stay organized as a $2 million Etsy seller so that you can handle 300 order days just like this, but without feeling overwhelmed. What we're going to be talking about, and hopefully you can get some clarity on, is organizing your designs in Canva, organizing your order management in Etsy, and then helping you come up with a more structured list of how you can organize your daily tasks. And so these are the 3 things that we're going to be talking about in today's video. And so we're going to move right on into designs. So the number one thing that we're talking about today with designs is the question that I've always run into myself before we figured out our organization. And it's, have you ever spent countless hours looking for Canva files or scrambling when an order comes in? And the reason I asked this question is because this is where we were at. We were scrambling to find Canva files. One season we had over 300 ornament orders coming in, and we had one Canva file with over 300 designs in it, and we were just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling for hours to try and find that one design. And so if you're there, or you've been there, or you're currently in it, I've been there with you, and so please know that there's no judgment here. I'm here to help provide some insight on how we navigated that and now where we're at, and being able to navigate our $2 million business with multiple shops and team members. So just know that we started with this, and we've progressed and matured. And so this is just to give you some insight and some tips if you feel like you're in this position right now. And so what we're going to be focusing on is exactly how we stay organized with all of our Canva files. So what I'm going to be talking about primarily is designs in Canva. That's what we primarily use for all of our designs. And then I'm also going to be talking about how we stay organized with our 2 production partners that we currently use. So the first one I'll be honing in on is Inner Circle Prints. And then I'm also going to be talking about Printify and how you can organize that. So that's kind of the gist of how we're going to talk about our designs and what we're going to be doing. And so a couple rules here that we follow with our designing and how we organize it. And these rules came over time after we were scrambling and we were in a complete mess, a rat's nest, I like to say. And so these rules became our primary focus, and we stick to them with everything. So rule number 1 is each Etsy listing has its own Canva file. And then rule number 2, each Canva file is organized within folders. And so since I just talked about that, I wanted to show you exactly what that means. And we'll be getting into a tutorial later, so stay tuned for that. But as a big picture overview, this is how we organize our Canva folders. And right now I'm using ornaments, but you can do this for any product. Could be t-shirts, could be tumblers, could be baby stuff, anything. And here, just to show you guys, so the main folder that we have is our product. And so this is ornaments. That's what we're focusing on. And then down here we have subfolders. I've just put 3 here for an example. The first subfolder is designs. The second subfolder is mockups. And then the third subfolder is vision board. And within these subfolders are little files. And this just helps us stay organized. And that way we don't have a huge mess and we're just trying to figure out where everything is. This helps us stay organized and know where everything is, and it's very efficient. And so in this design folder, you can see here with my examples is we have labeled these as number 1, engaged ornament, number 2, new home ornament, and number 3, boy ornament. And so why I'm highlighting this is it's really important to label your designs. And so every single design that we create, we label. So those 3 right there are just examples of how you can do it. You can do it however you feel is best. We feel like putting a number with the design is really helpful so that we can just search if we need to real quickly. And then we add just a little thing about what the design is. So that's what you see there: engaged ornament, new home, and boy ornament. And so it's really important to have those labeled for cohesiveness and ease for you to be able to track and find them. And so each of these are in their own design file in this design folder. Okay. The next one that we're going to talk about is the mockup folder. And here, this is just one file. You don't need multiple files for this. It's just one file. And in it is going to be our ornament mockups. And so we've created our templates, up to 10 photos you can have in Etsy as of right now. And so that's what we use. We have all of our templates built out, and that's where these live. So anytime we finish a design, we know, okay, it's next step for us is to move into the ornament mockups, and we have this all set. We're not scrambling, trying to be like, oh, where is this in our folder? Where is it in the Canva abyss? How are we going to find this? So that's the point of our mockup folder here, is so that we know we have that already set up, because that's what we're going to use when we put them on Etsy, and we don't have to stress about it. We have that template all set. We just have to apply the design and then download it once it's done. So these two folders are really helpful to stay organized with your designs and your mockups. And then the last example that I'm showing here is a vision board. And if you guys haven't seen our challenge video, we talked deeply about what a vision board is. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. But in here is basically our ornament vision board. And so this just gives us insight on, hey, this is where all of our research is, and this is what we need to have open every single time that we are going to create a design. And by having this vision board here allows us to easily access it. So we're not getting it confused with designs. We're not getting it confused with mockups. We're not getting it confused with other products. It's very easy and accessible for you to find for the ornament product, which is what we're working on. So again, stay tuned. I'm going to give you guys a full tutorial in Canva itself on how we do it, and so you can visualize it and also apply it for your own shop and your own business. Hey guys, now we're going to jump into the Canva design tutorial to help you guys organize your designs for the products that you are working in. So how I got here was I went to my homepage of Canva, and then I decided to click on projects. And once I clicked on projects, I went to the tab and I clicked add new, and that's how I did folder, and that's how I got here. I labeled it Canva organization just so that you guys knew it was related to this tutorial, but I'm going to update it and have it be ornaments so that you guys know that's what we're talking about, because that's what I showed earlier. And so now this main folder here is called ornaments. This is our product that we're going to be working in. And now I'm going to start adding in those subfolders that I just showed you guys. So I'm going to add the first one here, which is designs. Continue. I'm going to add another one here that is mockups. Continue. Then I'm going to add one more here just for the tutorial for the vision board. Okay, and so now what we have here is the ornaments, which is the main product that we're focusing on. And then within this ornament main folder, we have the subfolders here, which are the designs, mockups, and vision board. And what's really nice about Canva is that everything automatically saves, so you don't ever have to worry about, you know, do you need to save this design? You need to save what you're doing. It automatically updates. So now that we've done that, we're going to jump into the files within the subfolders like I showed you guys. So we're going to go to designs here, and I'm going to create a new design. And so I'm going to go here into the upper corner. I'm going to hit design, and I'm going to create new. And I'm going to do this just as an example. And we're going to do that. And something I want to highlight here, and I mentioned this in the previous slide, was you have the opportunity to label and title your designs. And so here I'm going to label it 1 engaged ornament. So now I know this is where the engaged ornament lives. Okay, so within the design folder, I have the engaged ornament. I'm going to add another design here, and it's going to be create new. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did just for the example. And then again, I'm going to label it, and I'm going to have it be to new home ornament. And so now I have the placeholder for the new home ornament that I have. So each one of these has their own little home, I like to say. And then I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to add one more design to show you guys as an example. And we're going to create new. Again, the same process that I just did for the example. Create new design. And then this one's going to be labeled 3 boy ornament. If I can spell. Okay. So now in here we have all of them. We have number 1, engaged ornament, number 2, new home ornament, and number 3, boy ornament. And so what this is showing is in the design subfolder that we created, in the ornament main folder, we have our designs that are labeled beautifully in here. Now I know where the engaged ornament lives, the new home ornament lives, and the boy ornament lives. And so if I click out of the designs and I go to our main folder, which is our product folder, which is ornaments, now it's going to show us the same subfolders that we created, but now in the design folder, it's going to show 3 items. And so that's exactly what I want. And as you add new designs and create new ones, this is where you would add them. And I would encourage you guys again to make sure you label them so that it's really easy for you to understand and know where they're at. So that's great. And then in here, this is where the vision board will be. Again, this is just an example here. We're going to go to add new. Design, create new, and we're just going to go to customize, and we'll do a random one. And so now I know, hey, this is our ornament vision board. And so, like I said, if you guys haven't checked out our challenge video that we just did, we talked very deeply about what a vision board is and how we use it and how it's really helped us be successful within our business. So check it out, and it will help walk you through exactly what we do with this. But this is where the vision board lives for ornaments. And then we're going to go back to that folder. We're going to go to ornaments here. And then we have mockups. And so we really just have one file typically for mockups. We create a batch of mockups for ourselves that we spend a lot of time on. And then once we feel like we're in a finalized process with them, we add them here. And so these are the ones that we will use. So again, just for example, we'll go to design, create new, and I'm just going to do a random size for visual purposes. And then I'm going to label this as the ornament mockups. And so now, if I refresh the page here, it shows me that I have ornament mockups. So now I have all my subfolders filled in. So I have my mockups with its one file that we've created. I have my vision board with our one file that we're going to go off of for our research. And then I have our design file that I've just put 3 different designs in. And this is where we'll continue to add designs as we continue to grow and develop them. So again, this was just a tutorial to show you guys how to organize your designs in Canva using folders, and I hope it was really helpful. Now we are in Inner Circle Prints. I have hopped to the catalog over here. We're going to scroll down to the ornament product, which is right here. And so now we have a couple things that we're going to fill out. And so this is where everything kind of ties together. So product title. What I'm going to do with this product title is I'm going to label it the same exact title as I have in my Canva. So the first one was 1 engaged ornament. So now this title is cohesive with the one in Canva, so it's really easy. And then number 2, this is just the design template, and so it's a square ratio, which is really great. We use 1000 by 1000 pixels, which just will ensure we have higher resolution. So either one works great. And then here, this is where it's really cool. You copy your design URL and link to product. So this is another reason why it's so important that you guys have your designs in their own files, because they'll have their own individual URLs, which is what we're going to end up using here. So if we go back to our Canva, our engaged ornament one that we just talked about, we can see here that it has its own URL. Here's that title that's cohesive, but we're going to copy this unique URL. So we're going to copy it, go back to Inner Circle Prints, and now we're going to paste it in. And so now this is the home for the engaged ornament. So this is the product's home page, essentially. This is where it's going to live. It's connected to Canva, and it's really nice. So all of that's connected, which is great. If we had a picture of the design done, we would upload it here for ease for us to just make sure we see what we're looking at. It's always nice to have that visual, but since we don't, we're just going to leave this as your custom design here. And then the other thing that's really great is you're able to link your product to Etsy right from here. So again, if we had put this on Etsy already, we would just link it here, and it's very easy to do so. So overall, this is how we will create the product. And so what we'll do here is we're going to actually add it to products, which is awesome. And we're going to say no thanks. And then we're going to go to orders. And so we've created that product. Great, it's all connected. And now an order comes in for that engaged ornament one. And so we go there, and I see how the order came in. So I'm on the on hold section. And then here I see the customer's name and everything. That's great, looking good. Over here I see what the product is. It's that ornament. And so now, because I've linked my individual Canva link from that engaged ornament to this one, when I click edit graphic, it's going to directly bring me to the engaged ornament Canva file, which is awesome. So that design that you guys would have in here, it would show, and you guys could edit it as needed, download it, and then you could upload it right here as your finalized graphic and then approve it. And so that's what's super nice about Inner Circle Prints and why it's so important to have individual files for your designs so that you can do this with ease. And so, yeah, that's how we do it with Inner Circle Prints, and I hope it was helpful. And now we're going to talk about how you can apply Canva into Printify. And so I just want to make a quick note here that as of right now, you cannot link a design file to Printify. However, we have been able to figure out a way to replicate the same process we use in Inner Circle Prints to also use with Printify. And so the exact same process that I just showed you in our tutorial for Canva and Inner Circle Prints, we've also come up with a process to be able to apply it to Printify. So a lot of you might be asking, well, I don't know how to do that with this. Well, don't worry. I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on how we do that as well. And that way you can use either production partner. As I'm in Printify right now, I'm in the catalog, and I went to women's t-shirts, and that's what you can see here. And so I'm going to go with the comfort color. So we're going to start that. And then I'm going to scroll down, and I'm just going to say start designing. And this is going to bring me to this page. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to select variants. Again, this is just an example, so you guys can pick whatever colors you want to offer, but I'm just going to click the first ones that I see. And the other thing that you need to make sure to do when you're doing it this way is add a text. You have to add something here. And what we like to do is add a text box here, and then we like to have it be called template. So we always know that we'll need to delete that and then add the image that we're needing to put on here once we get to that point with the what the customer's requested. So anyways, we've done that. Now we're going to save the product. Once that has saved, now we can also hit save selected. Awesome. And now it's brought us here to the main page. So now we're going to go down, and I'm going to name this, comfort colors 1717, and then template. So I know that this is the template. And then I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to enable this personalization section here. And so this is new from Printify. What this does is it allows the customer to do their personalization, and it will go into Printify automatically, which is awesome. But what this allows you to do is you actually can edit the order in Printify. It won't push it through automatically. This will stop for you to do the final submission. So you would add the image or whatever the customers asked for, put it on the t-shirt, for example, and then you could then submit that order. So this is really helpful, and this new feature is what allows us to be able to do this whole process that we're talking about. So make sure that's enabled, and then everything else is good to go. We want to make sure we hide in store here, and what that does is it just creates a draft in your Etsy listing or in your Etsy store so that it's not being published. It's just in there, and you want to make sure it's as a draft. So make sure you have this clicked, which will be really helpful. And then we also want to go here to show all variants as available for purchase. This allows you to accept any orders regardless of stock status. So we want to make sure that we have that checked so that we don't eliminate any orders coming in. So now that this is all set and we have it hid in store, so it's going to create a draft, we can then hit publish. And now once it's published, we will jump into Etsy. And so where I have gone here is in my listings, and I've gone to the draft. And so what I have done here is it's just a regular template, but I'm going to talk through some things here. So the title here, we're going to probably call it art, for an example, art teacher. And then I'm going to add a SKU, and this is going to be 0001. And this can be anything that you guys want. This is just an example SKU that I'm going to be using. And again, a full title would be right now here, but this is just an example. So I've decided to change this for art teacher because that's what I'm going to show you next. And I've created my own SKU for myself. And this is what it is for this specific listing. And so if I scroll down here, you guys will see that there's actually SKUs already in your listing, but these are SKUs that you guys want to keep because these are from Printify. And so when an order does come through, it's going to go to Printify, and it will allow Printify to know, okay, customer X ordered a red color shirt that's a medium. And so that will go in to Printify, and then it will just be blank. It will just have that template logo that we put on there, and then you guys will finalize the design afterwards. And so we're going to go back here, and I'm going to talk a little bit deeper here. So you might be thinking, okay, well, now I have this SKU here, but how do I get my designs? And so we've created this really helpful Excel sheet for ourselves that we've done to replicate how it works in Inner Circle Prints. And so I'm going to pull it over here. And so what I've done here is created the SKUs, made them up myself. These ones are just what I wanted. The TS is t-shirt. And then we did 001. The name that I've associated with that SKU is art teacher. And then the same thing that we did with Inner Circle Prints is each of these designs has its own folder and file. And so each one has its own individual Canva link. And so when an order comes in, let's just say for art teacher, I'm going to be looking at the order, and at the end of that order, it's going to show me the title, but it's also going to show me this really nice SKU that I left myself. And so now that I left that for myself to look at, I will go to my Excel file that we call SKU key organization, if that's what you guys want to call it. And I will look for that SKU that I had, and it's TS0001, and it's for the art teacher. And I will click that link, and it will bring me directly to the art teacher design. And so that's how we've created it to be very similar to Inner Circle prints. And I think it will be really helpful for you guys as you grow your Printify shops. And so, yeah, I would encourage you to build it out with a SKU and have a nice organized file like this so that you don't feel like you're scrambling and trying to figure out where everything is, and have a file that's 300 pages long and so forth. So anyways, I hope this was helpful, and best of luck. Awesome. So now that we finished our tutorials and our designs, we're going to jump into number 2, which is order management on Etsy. So I want to make note of this. This is order management on Etsy. So we're not in Canva anymore. This is strictly in your shop in Etsy. Okay. So the biggest thing that I have questions for, this is what I've always run into, and I always like to ask because I know this is one of the biggest things that people run into, and I ran into it myself, is I was so excited for the orders to come in, but then when they came in, I wasn't really sure how to organize them. I was super excited, but at the same time, I was so overwhelmed. So if this were me as a human, this is exactly how I felt. I had the excitement here, and then over here in my head, I was like panicking. And so just know that if you feel that way, or you maybe have thought of like, what am I going to do when this happens? Learn from us, because we had to learn, and it really became such a crucial part of our process, especially as we had more people join our team, and we were able to delegate. So I'm just going to be talking to you guys about how order management can be super helpful in your Etsy shop. So some things that might happen as orders increase, and this is something that we ran into, which is why I feel like it's very important that we talk about it, is you might run into situations where there's a lot of confusion on which orders have been submitted. You might run into needing to follow up on certain orders with customers. You might have some confusion there that you need to connect with them on. You might have customers that want fully custom orders, and you need to provide a mock-up. Maybe they want a photo, and you need to kind of do your thing with it and then provide them a mock-up so that they can approve it. The other thing you might run into is orders that require input from the customer. So maybe, again, you need to get some clarification. Maybe what they put in their personalization on their order is confusing, or you just need to double check something. This is an opportunity for you to do that as well. And then the last one that I like to talk about is delegation. And so maybe you're not at that point to delegate tasks in Etsy. But even if you aren't there yet, treat it for yourself. So what I mean by that is, you want to have steps set up so that you're able to help yourself. And then when you have a team, or you decide to add a friend or a spouse or someone else, you can easily start to delegate. And so these are just the top 5 things I wanted to talk about, because this is what we ran into. And being able to organize our order management was a game changer for us. And we use it to this day, and will continue to do so. Okay, so let's jump into it. So this was like a light bulb experience for me and for our team. And there's this beautiful thing on Etsy that they allow you to actually create these things called progress steps. And we did not know about them until Connor and I started working together, and we realized, hey, I don't know what you're working on and I don't know what you were working on. So it became very confusing, to the point where we really had to dial in our organization skills. And we found out, hey, there's actually this really great tool on Etsy called Progress Steps that you can use to help organize your order management. And so what this is, just as a high level, if you go to your Etsy shop and you go to the order section, you will see this at the top. What you might just see is this new column here, and then this completed column. And these are required by Etsy, so you can't delete or remove them. So you might only see these. But the thing that's so amazing, and the light bulb moment that went off for us, if you haven't experienced it already, or explored it, or found it, is this beautiful little pencil that is in the corner over here. And what this does is it actually allows you to be able to create all of these subsections. So you can create this whole process for yourself. And these are just examples that we use for ourselves. So you can name it whatever you want. There's no set in stone. It just helps you progress your order so that you know where things are at. You're not scrambling with, oh, I have 50 new in here and some are completed, but I actually processed all of these ones and now I'm panicking because I don't know what one I did. This alleviates that whole problem. And so another thing that I put here on this page is your customer will not see these steps. And I want to note that because I originally, when we first started doing this, I thought they could. And I was very nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're seeing everything. This is what we're doing. And this is where their product is at. And it's actually not true. That was just in my head. But so your customer won't see these steps. So rest assured in that this is an internal process for you and for your team if you decide to have one or if you already do. So again, high level here, I'm going to show you the next steps on how you can do this. And so once you click that pencil that I highlighted, it's going to bring you here. So this is how you create your progress steps. And like I said, the new section is required, and then the completed section is also required. So we cannot edit or delete these. But the beautiful thing, like I said earlier, is that you can add your own new step. And so this was super duper helpful for me when I was just working on my shop before Connor and I got married. And then when we got married, it was so helpful to be able to delegate, like, hey, can you help with this order? Or, hey, I'm going to do this one. We could label it our names. It could be Lauren here and Connor here. And so we knew who was doing what, and we weren't overlapping or, wasting time on creating a design and it's already been done type of thing. So you can label these whatever you want, whatever is really helpful for you. And some of the things I'll just talk about why we do what we do with these is we have VA orders here. And that's because we have a team. And so it's very clear to us that who's doing what. Our team members, our VAs are doing these orders that we've assigned to them. This next column here is custom design, similar to what I talked about in the beginning, was you might get custom design requests from customers, right? And so if you get that, it might take a bit longer than just a regular order. You might have to do a little bit more work. You might have to have more communication with your customer. So here we have a section here that just highlights that, so we can take that custom order and put it into this custom design subfolder that really just helps us know, hey, this is where it's at, and if we need to check up on it, we can do that. This mock-up sent, this is really helpful for if you run into the situation where maybe you do a custom design and you need to send a proof or a mock-up and you're waiting for the customer to approve it. And so we go from our custom design here, and then once we send that proof to the customer, we will put it in the mock-up sent so that we know, hey, the job's done. We're just waiting on that customer to respond. And so that just gives us the clarity of where it's at in this process. And it also gives us the ability to follow up with a customer. If we're seeing no movement within this section, then we know, hey, it's either they haven't responded or there's something going on with the order. And so this is just an area that's been really helpful for us. The last one here, you might be thinking, why would I have an in production part or folder here? And the reason for that we felt is best for our business and for ourselves is once all of these are done, so your VA orders are done, the custom design's done, the mock-ups are done, everything's approved, it's been really helpful to have an in production section here because nothing is going to get into this completed section until there is a tracking or shipping number applied to it. And so what was happening for us is that when we got these done, it was just building up, and it kind of created that bottleneck and confusion of, I don't know what I've already worked on. And so we decided, hey, I think it'd be really smart if we added this in production section for ourselves and our team so that we all knew, hey, these were all done. It's just waiting for that tracking number. And so that's something that would be really helpful for people that are doing print on demand because you're not the ones shipping the product. So just having it in its own little queue is really helpful. And then The other great thing is that when it does get the tracking number or the shipping number, it will automatically go into the completed section. And so it's not like you have to sit there and wait and then put it in the completed. If it's connected right with your production partner, then it will automatically link and complete it itself. So this is just a little bit of how we do our customized progress steps. Like I said, you guys can do it however you feel works best for you, what works best for your workflow. And again, I want to note this for you guys is that your customer will not see this. This is all in the back end. So this is just for your process, your team, yourself, whatever it is to help you organize your order management. This is all internal. So your customer will not see any of this happening. It just really helps with workflow. So this is how you create your progress steps. Again, it's in your Etsy shop under orders. And then if you go to that little pencil, like I just talked about in the previous slide, you'll be able to access this. And then all you do is hit save changes. And then you'll have that beautiful list like I showed here. This is exactly what it will look like depending on what you write. That's what you'll get. And then the other thing that you might be asking yourself was, okay, well, that's super great. Now that I have that organized order management, awesome. But how do I actually update that progress? So how you do that is the easiest way to do it is you click on an order. So this is just an order in our shop here. And all you do, you have this little section here that says update progress. And if you click on update progress, it will bring down the drop down of all of your sections. And so you can manually move it to where it's at. And this is super, super helpful because it starts to get really organized and you start to feel more peace and you're content and your brain gets decluttered. And so this is how you update your order progress or your orders that come in. You just hit this button here and it will give you those drop downs. And again, like I said in the previous slides, and I will keep saying until we're done with this part, is your customer will not see this update. So you push it along in your process and they will not see this. So you can hit update progress, put it in mockup sent, and they won't see that. So rest assured there. But this is how you update your progress once you have those steps in place. And now you have a full process. So this is a big way that helped us and continues to help us with our order management, especially running quite big shops right now and with a team. It's been super helpful and a lot less stress. And the biggest thing I can say is everybody's on the same page. So we all know where everything's at. There's no confusion. It's very clear to all team members. And I hope it serves you as much as it served us so far. And I hope this was really helpful for you guys with the order management organization. And so the end of that, you went from overwhelmed and now you don't feel that way anymore. So this is really, again, how I felt before we figured this out for ourselves. I was this little brain over here thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a complete nightmare. How am I ever going to figure this out? To Connor and I figuring it out together and then ultimately coming up with this beautiful process for ourselves and then eventually being able to delegate for our team members. And so now everybody's just happy little campers, working really hard. So I just wanted to highlight that. I've been there, we've been there, and it's just completely changed the game for us. So yeah, work on your order management, and I hope it brings a lot more ease to your mind and you are smiling at the end and your brain isn't feeling all clustered. And then the biggest thing I want to talk about, which is a bonus tip for you guys that's been so helpful for us, especially as we build our team. But the other thing is, even if you're doing it yourself, orders can come in and messages can come in. And sometimes it can be like a customer's asking for an updated address. And you're like, okay, well, how am I going to remember that? That's okay. I got to do it right now type of thing. But the beautiful thing with this is on the order for that person, say it's just Anne Marie, ordered this thing, she messaged you and she says, hey, can you update my shipping address? And you're like, oh my gosh, like I need to do this right now, pause everything. The great thing with Etsy and what they allow is in the order, if you click your order, you can actually add a private note. Again, this is not something that your customer will see. This is all internal. So this is just a private note to either yourself or to your team, or just communication, just so that you know, like, hey, I need to do this, and it will pop up on on the order. And so when you add this note, so Anne Marie wanted her address updated, so we click add private note, and then down here is what I was just talking about. Anne Marie needs an updated address, see address below. This is a note to myself or to my team. It doesn't matter who's doing it. We all know what needs to happen. And then below, I provide the address that Anne Marie has given me. And so now there's no issues here. We have the address that she wrote. I've copied and pasted it in. And now when I save it here, it's going to be attached to her order. So when you're going through your order, you're going to look at that, and it's one of the first things you'll see on there is like a private note. And I always like to put things in capital letters, because when you're getting busy and when you're tired or something, you kind of glaze over things. But when it's capitalized, for me, I will always catch it. At least I hope I do. I try to catch it, and it's just a lot easier for me for the process. So this is just something that has been so helpful for when Connor and I started working together, just communicating to each other of, hey, like this needs this, or hey, can you review this, or whatever it might be. Or like maybe they want to change the personalization. Maybe they accidentally messed up a date and they're like, hey, I messed up this date. Can it be this? This is a good opportunity for you to say in your private note, update personalization, needs new date, and then have the date below it. And so this is just communicating to you or your whole team and whoever's processing the orders, so that you're all on the same page and you don't have any issues with needing to refund, or hey, my order's wrong, or hey, it went to the wrong address. It's very clear, and there's your error is going to be a lot lower if you do this for yourself. So use it as an opportunity to serve yourself and to also serve your team if you have one. And it will just change the game for you guys. So this is just a bonus tip I wanted to add as we were talking about order management. This really helps our flow with our order management. And again, this is on the customer's order. You can click it and you can add a private note and add what you need, save it, and it should pop up as you are going through your orders. So this is just a little helpful tip here. And now we're going to get into our daily tasks and how to organize those. And so real quick, I just want to show you guys the planner that I use for myself. And I know it's really small here, but this is the planner that I use. And yes, I'm one of those people that loves to write things down and cross them out. I'm old school and I love it. So if you're like me, I highly recommend this planner. And I know that it's small in this video, but I will be linking it in the description below. But what I'm going to be doing here is giving you guys a high level and also deep dive of how we stay organized and how we operate our daily tasks so that we actually are moving our business forward. And so I wanted to share that with you guys, but I wanted to show you my handy dandy planner before we jump into the electronic version of it. So yeah, so the biggest question that I've had for myself and that we ran into, I 100% ran into this when things started moving along and I thought we were doing things in the right direction, but then I'd go to bed at night and be like, what even happened today? So the biggest questions I have for myself and for you guys is, have you ever felt like you don't know where to begin and hours have passed and nothing's been truly accomplished? And so if you are there, or if you think about that and you're like, yeah, actually that is me, rest assured you're not alone. I've been there, we've been there, and at times we still get there. It's human nature, but I am going to talk to you guys about how we organize our daily tasks and how this can help you guys with your daily tasks. And so as we get into this is how we organize and prioritize our daily tasks. So what we do as a quick big picture is we group our tasks into 4 categories. So number 1 is the important and urgent tasks. Number 2 is important and not urgent tasks. And number 3 is not important but urgent. Number 4 is not important but urgent. And so these categories here really help us figure out our day. Okay. And so for the example, might look something like this, which is on our next page. And so this is the Eisenhower matrix. I'm sure you guys maybe have heard of it, but this is basically what we do here. And this is what we follow to really help organize our day. There's a lot going on in our business right now with a big team and ourselves. We're doing it full time. And so we really need to prioritize our time to ensure we're moving our business forward. And for those of you that are working, a full-time job, or you have other things going on, this doesn't just apply to people that are doing their Etsy business full-time. This also applies to you. You can do it in the same way that we're doing it. Maybe it's less steps, or less priorities, right? But you're still able to accomplish the same thing. And this here has completely changed the game for us. It's really made us rethink our priorities and what is actually urgent versus what is not urgent, all of that fun stuff here. So something I just want to talk about is, number one, the important and urgent. This is key. This is what we want to focus on a lot. And as you can see here, we have responding to Etsy messages, submitting orders, and creating products leading up to the event. Number two over here is the next most important thing, important but not urgent, our Etsy ad analysis, monthly bookkeeping, and creating evergreen products. Number three here is not important, but it is urgent. So we put here random custom Etsy requests, answering non-critical customer messages, and chasing trends without a strategy. And then number four here is not important and not urgent. And so we put here endlessly scrolling Etsy for inspiration. I think we might all be guilty of this one, but tweaking our shop bio or about me section for the 10th time. And then watching tutorials on topics you are not implementing. And so this is how we organized it ourselves and how we continue to stay on top of our tasks. And something I just want to note is most people here don't have any issues with completing section number 1, important and urgent, and section number 4. And so it might seem obvious, or it might be like, oh, that's true. But most people don't have an issue with this. Most people have a really hard time with figuring out what is going in number 2 and number 3. And so what I encourage you guys with, if you decide to implement this for yourselves, is really be intentional with your thought process here on what is going on with section number 2 and section number 3, because it can get really confusing, but be very intentional with this, because this is truly what we're going to be focusing on, number 1 and number 2. And so you want to make sure that all of this is organized to the point that you feel like, hey, yeah, this is actually moving the business forward, and I'm going to be able to go to bed tonight and be like, hey, I actually accomplished something, instead of be like, well, I spent 8 hours watching tutorials that I'm never going to implement. So this is just kind of how we do it. I just wanted to note that it's really, really important that you guys pay extra close attention and give a lot more intention to your decision making with these sections here, 2 and 3. And so what our top priorities are for today is I just broke it down from the list that I just showed you. And the other thing with that list is it's broken into 4 quadrants, which is really helpful for visualized people or visual people like myself. I really like to see that. So it's really helpful to see that and then be able to break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces. And so what I've done here is we picked the important and urgent section. And then what I did here is put 1A, 1B, and 1C. And all I did was I took that quadrant there and decided, hey, I'm going to just list these as 1A, 1B, 1C. And they're literally the same thing that we just talked about. Respond to Etsy messages, submit orders, and create 3 Halloween designs. And then the second one is quadrant number 2. And this is my important but not urgent. And so I have 2A, 2B, 2C. And again, this is review your Etsy ads from last month, monthly finance meeting, and create 3 evergreen designs. And so these are what I've decided based on my entire list that I put together. These are my top priorities today. And what this is going to do, you guys, is it's actually going to eliminate you from doom scrolling and going through the tutorials and wasting time on things you think are helpful but actually aren't helpful. By breaking it out into these 4 sections, it's going to really provide you clarity. But then at this point, this is a full day's worth of work for me. So this is a full thing. This is, because we're doing it full time, this is going to take me all day. And so what this does is it eliminates me from even thinking of quadrant number 4, because I have no time for that. I don't have time to go edit my bio 10 times or my about me section 10 times or go watch, tutorials that have nothing to do with what I'm trying to do. This part here completely eliminates that. And so that's why it's so important to be so intentional with how you fill this out and make sure that it's actually important and urgent, and important but not urgent. And so the reason I touch upon this too, for the important but not urgent, this is like the end of the day type of thing for me. So this is not the first thing I do. It's not, I'm not going to leave it till the next day, but this is something that it's not the top priority. The top priority is this: responding to Etsy messages, submit orders, and create 3 Halloween designs, because that's the current next event. And so, yeah, these are our top priorities for today. And I'm just going to show you what today's schedule is going to look like. And I'm a person that absolutely loves to have my schedule kind of broken out into hours or half hours or just increments. So today, how I scheduled it, we are going 8 to 4, really 8 to 5, because I'm going to work through that 4 p.m. hour. But here I have respond to Etsy messages at 9 a.m. I'm going to submit all orders. And I always like to have my messages done before I submit orders in case there's any address changes needing to happen, anything like that. Then I'm going to go into creating 3 Halloween designs. I'm going to continue to create 3 Halloween designs. So that's going to take me a couple hours. Then I'm going to prioritize my lunch and go to the gym, get some exercise. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to review some Etsy ads, jump into the monthly finance meeting that Connor and I have. And I'd really encourage you guys to have it, even if it's just one person. Schedule a time with yourself to have a monthly finance meeting. It's so important to know your numbers. At 3 p.m., I'm going to jump into creating evergreen designs. And then at 4 p.m., I'm going to continue that. And that's going to get me to about 5 o'clock. So like I said, this is a full day for me. I want to note again, if you are not in the position to be doing this full time, then chunk it out. You don't have to do this all in one day. If you're like, hey, I'm going to do from 8 to 10 a.m. early in the morning before I start my work day. And then when I get home, I'm going to, try and chunk out the rest of it. Organize it in a way that works best for you in your schedule. That's what's key. This is just an example of what works for me and works for our team and how we implement our schedules. So again, take this with a grain of salt, depending on your current lifestyle. If you're working full time, if you're working part time, if you're balancing a bunch of things, you have a bunch of kids at home, all that stuff, just do what works best for you. But I think the biggest thing here is take action of your daily tasks. Don't let them control you. You control them. You are equipped to know how to do that. And this schedule and the matrix that I just talked about is what's really helped us be successful. And so I just want to show you guys, since I am the written lady here in this world, I'm that old-fashioned lady, I just want to show you again, it's going to be small, just how I've organized it and why I love this planner. And so just here, I love this planner because it talks about what your to-do is for the day, like the hour, and then it goes all the way down, which is great. And then I also have my top priorities here, which is awesome. My to-dos are here, which is great. And then on this side over here, this I just wrote in pencil because these are not ones I want to focus on. So this is how I broke it out. This is why I love this planner. It's all organized for you. Even gives you a little quote here, which is amazing. And so I just love this planner. It's really helpful. This is how I break my day down. And again, I'm going to be linking this calendar scheduler in the description below. And so if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and check that out. I love checking things off and crossing things off. So it makes me feel like a new woman. So if you're on that train with me, I would encourage you guys to look at that calendar or that planner, and it might suit you perfectly. Especially help you take action by controlling what your day is like with your tasks. So ultimately, my biggest challenge for you guys is take action. I know that we talked about a lot of things today, but the biggest thing is take action. Begin to organize your designs in Canva. Begin to organize your order management in Etsy. And then ultimately, like I said earlier, take control of your daily tasks, organize them. If you want to use the matrix that we talked about, go ahead and use it. It's so helpful. It's completely changed how we work and our workflow, and making sure that we're actually moving ahead in our business. And I think it would be super helpful for people that are not able to contribute full-time hours to this right now and need to kind of spread things out. You can do it over a week's time frame of, hey, this is what I can accomplish, and break it up that way. So if you plan to take action on any of these tasks or all of them, leave a comment below. I would love to see it and cheer you guys on. And yeah, thanks again for all you do.